Well, hello and welcome to another one of Arthur's Engage reviews. It's been a while and I think this is number 19, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, this one is about tanks, not the tanks that roll around the battlefield and have guns, but about fuel tanks, particularly Revolution Trains four-wheel Class B tanker in Engage. Now, you may or may not heard about Revolution, and more of that later, but first here's a bit of incomplete history on four-wheel tankers. Now when you think of tankers you think of fuel tankers specifically, but actually they're liquids. Anyway, in the beginning there was of course treble O, and tankers I think have always been popular, so even in the very beginning there was a four-wheel tanker. Here it is. Anyway, onwards and upwards into Engage, and Farish I think did first the Erect tank. So here we have a Erect tank, which is a square rectangular sorry, not square, rectangular tankers, which there were many around at one stage. Anyway, much later of course DePaul entered the market with their milk tanker, but this is actually a six-wheel wagon, so it plays no further part here. Early versions were from Wren and Lima, and anybody else I think who was around, and then of course we have Peco, Peco in kit and made up form. Now this model seems to have been around and with us forever. It makes into, well, a really excellent range, and of course this has been extended by those wonderful products from Robbie's Rolling Stock, to cover all the brands that you never thought of. Peco also do a four-wheel, and this is coming up to date, a four-wheel Class C tank in various guises. So we have a selection of tankers and weights of fuel that they can carry, but there is a gap in the market. I mean, likewise recent offerings from Farish have been excellent, but here we have the crowd-funded Class B tank from Revolution Trains. Revolution Trains basically crowdfund what you might call a niche products. It's not the usual crowdfunding, if you've ever been involved in this, where you get a certain amount of time to make your mind up, express an interest, and then if they don't get the right numbers it all falls apart. This Revolution don't go down that route. So first things first, the packaging. Now you can buy the tankers as singles or in triple packs. Very modern packaging, as you would expect, with barcodes on the end. The triple packs, by the way, are letters on the outside as to what the contents are, whereas the singles are identified just as I think by the different product code. Anyway, inside, if we take this one apart, so the plastic box just slides out of its cardboard retainer. We have a stout little top that actually says, if I can read it, yes, it does say Revolution on there. I don't know if you can read that. Yes, you can. Inside we have a plastic cover under which you have the little sheet that protects the detail, another plastic bit inside, and then the cardboard retainer. Very strong box that's going to last for many a long year. Now additionally, inside you'll find the bits box. Couplings and pipes. Now if you want to know how to attach these or where they go, very straightforward, go on to the Revolution website and it will show you in great detail where they go. Now you'll also notice we've got Esso plates, and that was because on the original Class B tanks themselves the branding was not painted on direct to the tanks, but it was on a plate. So what those nice people from Revolution have done has given you two plates to apply to your model if you need it. Now the other thing to know is about the numbering of the individual models. So if you buy a single tanker, it has one number according to what brand that you've purchased. If you then purchase the triple pack, they have 3 different numbers on the models. So therefore you could, by ordering a triple pack and a single of the same model, get 4 models, all with different numbers. Now the range is Texaco, Esso, which we've got here, Mobil Charringtons, which are very colourful, United Molasses. Now United Molasses come in 2 different versions on the triple pack. You have 2 with the blue end and 1 plain, again say all different numbered, and I am told that these also have a modified chassis. I've yet to actually eyeball what the details are, but that according to the manufacturer. And we have Regent as well. So that's 4 petrol companies and a variation on the theme. Additionally, they do what I would call an unbranded one. This is a fabulous model, and again available in triple packs with 3 different numbers, and as a single with a different number again. And I think this one gives you the opportunity to model these Class B tanks in whatever company of your choosing. Needless to say, I've already done that. So here's my version of a WD tanker. Whether they ever existed or not, I doubt very much. Very happy with this model in particular, because the transfers, by the way, are from Robbie's rolling stock. And I asked Robbie if he would give me the last 3 numbers of the number that the unbranded tanks did carry. Robbie, being who he is, duly obliged. This model again, I believe, has got the revised. Okay, so while we do the models themselves, some notes on the Class B tanks. Following the modernisation plan 1955, British Railways identified a need for faster, higher capacity wagons to cater for the rapidly growing petroleum traffic. Working with Esso, Charles Roberts Limited developed a new design for a capacity of 35-ton tanks. The result, the 35-ton Class A and Class B tank wagons. The wagons were designated Class A and Class B depending on the contents, If you remember the Kitmaster Airfix SO tank in 00 gauge, well, that was a Class A, and hundreds were petroleum products. Of course, they were also used for chemicals and molasses, as you can see by the model. From 1960, a modified suspension was introduced, and examples of these wagons and the wagons themselves remained in service late into the 1990s. They operated in long dock trains and also smaller cuts in mixed freight trains, and were hauled by anything from 9Fs, 8Fs, Black 5s, pairs of BRCW Type 3s, Sulzer Type 4s, or even English Electric Type 3s, and from late steam through to early diesel. When you're operating your occasionally they needed, some trains had barrier wagons, some didn't. In history you find that the rules change from time to time. I suggest it's Route 1. Anyway, the model from Revolution, shorter barrel, and the tooling is to and revised suspension types to be offered. Closed couplers, RP25 wheels, the catwalks are etched brass, and the coupling is the adapter type, so it will stretch on bends to help around the corner. The model has been designed by the Forber Graham Farish backman engineer Colin Albright, who production, and was also responsible for the Ultima range, so from that you can get at the quality. My views on the quality is very straightforward. I think this is the best N-Gage model tanker to date without any doubt, and that includes 4-wheel, 6-wheel and bogie types. The chassis in itself is actually a remarkable piece of model engineering, and were it not for the couplings on the end giving the game away, you could be very certain that you wouldn't know if it was 00 or N-Gage. They really are first class models and well worth waiting for. The Revolution website does actually state that if this model is successful, then they'll come out with the Class A tankers. Well, my comment on that is yes please. They're not cheap, but then the best never are. Now, if I was to say, well, what could Revolution improve on? At a couple of very small, minor, totally insignificant points. The one thing is that I actually don't got plastic boxes to go in, because eventually things will get too tight and you will rip the cardboard cover. Now, with these triple packs from Revolution, actually the trick of getting them back in the cardboard cover is to actually get the 3 plastic boxes, form them into a stack which makes them as small as possible, and then slide them into the retaining cover. I'd also like to see, as well as the code number of the product, where if I wanted to check which one was which I'd have to go online to do it, I'd also like, just on the label there, not necessarily on the box itself, just on the sticky label, the brand of tanker, so that my SO goes into its SO box, etc, etc. Apart from that, well, Revolution, more please. And as you can see here, we've mated the Revolution United Molasses tankers with Peco United Molasses tankers with some other wagons that might have come from Scunthorpe area. What they're doing with a Cabrotti Black 5, here's another question. And engineers, here we have a military train, obviously coming back from the northeast. Barrier wagons, our Class B tanks, the one in WD livery, and then some Robbie's rolling stock tanks, some of my own make. Graham Farish Special, DePaul gunpowder van, care of Robbie's rolling stock transfers, and various others, finishing up with a couple more WD 7 plank opens and a crab. Well, finally, to finish off the trains, here's a nice mixed rake. Our engineer's brake van is in use again. We have Robbie's rolling stock Peco, Robbie's rolling stock Peco again, Peco, Peco. Can you guess? Revolution. And you can see the difference there between the size of the Class B and the Class C. Revolution again. Peco. Hornby Minitrix. Peco. Peco. Robbie's rolling stock as applied by yours truly. Peco. Peco again. Graham Farish Charringtons. DePaul Charringtons. Revolution Charringtons. 1, 2 and 3. And we'll talk about that. Mobile tanker Graham Farish. Weathered mobile Graham Farish. Graham Farish. Peco, Robbie's rolling stock. Graham Farish. Graham Farish. And a nice old 8F up the front to finish off the combination. Now, Charringtons obviously had a contract with Mobil to operate distribution points. Whether they actually used barrier wagons with their own name on, I have no idea. One of their depots was in Coventry at Tile Hill, and I remember as a very young man in bed at night being woken up, if the wind was in the right direction, by the clank of an 8F shunting something on the line between Birmingham and Coventry. Perhaps it was pushing a rake of Class Bs into the refinery sidings. Somebody will know. Happy modelling, folks.